Hello and welcome to this very wonderful time. This is the second segment of our enlightenment broadcast today. Today is the 9th of April 2024. I am Pastor Maxwell. I am bringing to you this very important enlightenment broadcast that is very, very special. It is very, very important for us to know. In the previous broadcast, we were able to bring to your knowledge one of the victories that Namdi Kanu won. One of the most important victories, powerful victories, uncontested victories that Namdi Kanu won over the government of Nigeria. Up to today, it is not contested. And we are going to the category 3 of the UN judgment. That is what we're going to do right now. The second segment of this broadcast focuses on the category 3, of the United Nations judgment. And this category 3 is a victory that Namdi Kanu also won over the Nigerian government and the Kenyan government in the role for his abduction and extraordinary rendition, abuse of his fundamental human rights. And it is credit and it is very, very high kudos to him, Namdi Kanu, and all the people of Biafra, by extension, the lovers of freedom. This is the second segment of our enlightenment broadcast. And I'm bringing to the screen, without further ado, I'm bringing to the screen the category 3 of the UN judgment. The category 3 of the UN judgment. We started broadcasting from the very first paragraph of it. We broadcasted the category 1, the category 2. We concluded it yesterday. And today we're beginning with the category 3 of the UN judgment. Let us see how far we'll go with this very category 3, which begins from the paragraph 57. I am bringing it to the screen without further delay. I'm bringing it to the screen immediately. I am Pastor Maxwell Nnawuihe. This is our focus of broadcast today. This is the focus of our broadcast today. Yes, it is on the screen, as you can see. What you are looking at is a very important historic document that goes a very long way to shape, to form, and to direct the destiny of over 70 million Biafrans. I have said in different broadcasts, not only in this enlightenment broadcast, that from 1967 and 1970 down to 2022, that is more than 54 years, that such a victory, such a support that commands global endorsement and approval and support has not been given to Biafrans in the quest for the restoration of Biafra from such international, such global and revered body, United Nations. Looking at the category 3, paragraph 57, giving group under category 2, no arrest, detention, or trial of Mr. Kanu should have taken place. I hope you're seeing that. Remember, we concluded the category 2 yesterday. We did our unbiased analysis, looking into all the pros and the cons, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And we concluded it yesterday. It was so enlightening and educative that some of you were so surprised that such a judgment was given in the favor of Namdi Kanu and in the favor of Biafran people, and you didn't know about it. Look at in the present case, which is the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the government of Kenya has presented no exceptions permitted under Article 19, Section 3 of the Covenant, nor is there any evidence to suggest that Mr. Kanu's exercise of his freedom of opinion and expression was anything but peaceful. The working group therefore concludes that Mr. Kanu's detention was arbitrary under Category 2. That was the conclusion of the Category 2. Now is the Category 3. Let's read again. Given the findings of the working group under Category 2, which we just concluded yesterday, no arrest, detention, or trial of Mr. Kanu should have taken place. This is what I want you to understand based on this very powerful judgment. It is a UN judgment. It is not an ECOWAS judgment. I am not saying that ECOWAS has no power or credibility to give a similar judgment as this. Of course, ECOWAS has already given such a judgment in the favor of Nnamdi Kanu in 2018. In 2018, ECOWAS court gave a very powerful, favorable judgment in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, because the case of Nnamdi Kanu started in 2015. They wanted to kill him in 2017 through Operation Python and Stew, and he fled for his life. Thanks to God, he did not die, which was the first segment of our Enlightenment broadcast today that I brought to your notice. The judgment that talked about that very incident, Operation Python and Stew, and the judgment was in his favor. The government of Nigeria, or the Federal Republic of Nigeria, was ordered by Justice Binta Anya, not Justice Binta Anya. I keep on mixing up their names. Justice Benson Anya, because of the alphabet BB, Binta Nyako, Benson Anya. So Binta Nyako is the Federal High Court judge at Abuja, while Justice Benson Anya is the Federal High Court judge at Umuahia, Abia State, who gave a judgment that I was referring to. He ordered that the Federal Republic of Nigeria should pay Nnamdi Kanu 1 billion naira as a compensation and write an official letter of apology to him, published on 3 different national dailies. That was the judgment of that very Justice Benson Anya, which was the first segment of our broadcast today. This is the second segment of our Enlightenment broadcast today, and we are focusing at the Category 3 of the United Nations judgment. So these broadcasts are different broadcasts focusing on the same issue, the case of Nnamdi Kanu, looking into different perspectives. Very, very important that you may be enlightened and know that injustice has been done to this man that was locked away in DSS dungeon almost 3 years from 2021 till today. Given the findings of the working group under Category 2, don't allow this to escape your consciousness. They made their findings. They made their independent findings. When the report and the information was brought to them, when there was a submission made to them by the International Attorney of Nnamdi Kanu, they did not just take it hook, line, and sinker without very independent and reliable, detailed investigations. They carried out their own investigations and discovered that indeed what is being said about the condition of Nnamdi Kanu, his incarceration, solitary confinement, extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, that is true. And that it is against the international laws. It is a crime. It is an international crime. They concurred with the submission and they rendered the very powerful judgment that is before you right on the screen, saying that given to the Category 2, which was concluded yesterday, of their findings, of their judgment, of their ruling, the category 2 of it, given their findings, what they discovered, their investigation, they now arrive at a conclusion in this paragraph 57 that no arrest, detention, or trial of Nnamdi Kanu should have taken place. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer in the court. That is what it means. That given the findings of this very global body, their independent findings, their own investigations, the facts and evidences before them, this group, under the category 2 of their judgment, is saying that no arrest not taking place. He shouldn't have been arrested. He shouldn't have been arrested. I hope you're following. I hope you are seeing the injustice that's being meted out to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I hope you now understand that he is a victim of lawlessness. No arrest should have taken place. No detention should have taken place. For the people who are championing the opposition to the release of Nnamdi Kanu, you are as guilty as the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Kenyan government that abducted him and kept him in solitary confinement. You are as guilty as they are. You are very much guilty for supporting this lawlessness and illegality against Nnamdi Kanu, an innocent man before the law. An innocent man, according to the law, according to a well-researched, a well-investigated, a powerful submission made leading to this judgment delivered by the United Nations, and you are still opposing his release. Be you his lawyer, you are evil. You are very, very wicked. You are very, very wicked and heartless. Are you wiser and more intelligent and more vast than the United Nations? Are you? What is your network of investigators? How many independent, well-funded, reliable investigators do you have? That you have carried out your own investigations and discovered that Nnamdi Kanu should be jailed, that Nnamdi Kanu should be arrested, that Nnamdi Kanu should be killed, crucified, that he broke the law. What is your fact? What are your evidences? Are you more vast than the United Nations, who independently carried out their own investigations and they made their own findings relating the submission that was made by Bruce Fein on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, and they arrived at this very, very legendary and remarkable judgment that was in the favor of Nnamdi Kanu, stating that based on their own findings, what they have discovered, that no arrest or detention or trial of Nnamdi Kanu should have taken place based on their findings. Why should people allow prejudice and wickedness to bring them to gross darkness, that they don't see the light of the truth? Why? That when the truth is so overwhelming, when the truth is as crystal as the morning sun, they can see it with their eyes. The evidence is so overwhelming and so gratifying in seeking for justice. Still, they are bent on standing opposed to the truth. I wonder the kind of planet where we are. I just can't understand it sometimes. I can't wrap my mind around it. When I think about how people are so given to injustice and wickedness, I can't just figure it out. It is satanic and demonic. It is completely evil and abominable. And every right-thinking human being, everyone with good conscience and good sound sense of reasoning or judgment should condemn it. It is the category 3, as I brought it before the screen. Very soon, this broadcast is going to come to an end because we have several things in our hands today. The Working Group, Human Rights Council, Working Group on Arbitrary Detention of the United Nations. I keep making a strong emphasis. The nomenclature, the name of this body, United Nations, said that based on their findings, based on their investigations, what they discovered, the role that the Kenyan government played in 2021 towards the arrest of Namdi Kanu and his extraordinary rendition, the torture that he underwent in the land of Kenya for 8 good days, subsequently bundled back to Nigeria and locked away in the dungeon of the DSS in Abuja, Nigeria, for almost 3 good years now, with all the abuses, so many abuses that we have been studying and looking into for so many months, about 3 or 4 months now, or 2 months, that this enlightenment broadcast started specifically, that they have arrived at a conclusion that Pst Nnawuihe Kanu should not have been arrested in the first place. Not to talk of kidnap. Normal arrest, which follows the due process of law, shouldn't have taken place in the first instance. Not kidnapping, not extraordinary rendition. That no arrest, it is very clear. Let me bring it back to the screen now. I'm bringing it for those that are just joining us now. And if you have been following up, try and share every content that you see on this very engine speak with regards to this enlightenment broadcast and every of my teachings and preachings and other broadcasts. Share them, because I represent a very unwavering position of truth. That is what I represent. I have no business with lies and dishonesty or injustice. I don't have business with them. Before you, it is very clear. Look at it here. Given the findings of the working group under category 2, no arrest, no arrest, no arrest, no arrest of Namdi Kanu should have taken place. No detention should have taken place. No trial should have taken place. 3 things mentioned. Number 1, no arrest. I hope you're following now. Let me read it through so that when we bring this very broadcast to an end, we continue from the paragraph 58. No arrest. Given the findings, okay? Given the findings of the working group under category 2, no arrest, detention, or trial of Mr. Kanu should have taken place. However, Mr. Kanu was arrested, subjected to extraordinary rendition, and trial proceedings against him are ongoing in Nigeria. The source has made numerous submissions concerning Mr. Kanu's fair trial rights violations in both Kenya and Nigeria. Did you see that? I hope you have seen it very, very, very clear. It is very, very clear before your eyes that the United Nations said based on their independent, uninfluenced, devoid of any kind of political interferences or influences or bribery, based on their findings that the arrest of Namdi Kanu should not have taken place. His arrest, to go and arrest him with an arrest warrant, you present an arrest warrant, it shouldn't have taken place, let alone to kidnap him without an arrest warrant. That is what the very paragraph 57 is saying. No arrest should have taken place. Secondly, no detention of Namdi Kanu should have taken place, whether in Kenya or in Nigeria. Even if he's been detained under the provision of the law and all his rights being observed, they allow him to enjoy his right while in detention. This judgment is saying whether you allow him to enjoy his right in detention, provide him with all the rights that are due him according to the UN declarations on universal human rights, charters or covenant, or even the Constitution of Nigeria, even if he's under a very good human treatment that you detain him, it should not have taken place in the first instance. Even if you arrested him and you put him in a presidential jet and flew him down to Nigeria under a very good condition without any torture, that you shouldn't have done that in the first place. That is what it is. I didn't prepare the document. It is the UN judgment, and it is all over in the internet. I wonder why some people have not gotten hold of it. I don't know. And that is why we decided to be doing this broadcast, enlightenment broadcast, bringing to the knowledge of the people this very document that is being swept under the carpet, that there is a collective media silence over it because they know it is in the favor of a man they don't like. They don't like him. But the judgment is here in his favor by the United Nations. Number one, this paragraph stated very clearly that based on the findings of the United Nations, that Namdi Kanu should not have been arrested. I've explained that. Number two, he shouldn't have been detained. He should not have been detained, whether under a very good condition or not. He should not have been detained for a minute, for a second. Number three, that his trial should not even take place. No trial of Namdi Kanu should have taken place. He shouldn't have been arrested, number one. Number two, he shouldn't have been detained, both in Kenya or in Nigeria. Number three, he should not have been taken to court by the government of Nigeria in Abuja. But this man, not only that he was arrested, he was abducted, he was kidnapped, and he was tortured in Kenya for 8 days. We heard that he passed out about 2 times. He passed out. But God restored back his life because he committed no crime before God and man. Because God was on his side and God is still on his side. The truth and nature, they are all on his side. His innocence speaks for him. And after he came back to life, they bundled him and put him in a private jet and brought him to Nigeria and hurriedly took him to the detention facility of the DSS. And the next morning, they hurriedly arraigned him before a magistrate court without a legal representation, without consulting his lawyers. They just took him on their own and brought him to court to allow court to rule in their favor to keep him in detention. This judgment we read today said that such shouldn't have taken place in the first instance. Arrest, detention, or trial. He shouldn't have been taken to court. Whether Federal High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court, he shouldn't have been tried in any court, given the findings of the United Nations. And now, the Nigerian and the Kenyan government have broken these 3 very powerful positions that is protected and supported by international laws. Number one, illegal arrest, arbitrary arrest, arbitrary. That is what this very judgment is saying, that the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu was arbitrary. It didn't follow the due process of law. It is extraordinary rendition contrary to extradition, which is according to the law. His detention was illegal. His arrest was illegal. His detention was illegal. His trial is illegal. And the Supreme Court of Nigeria concurred with the ruling, the judgment of the United Nations on the 15th of December 2023, that the process by which Nnamdi Kanu was brought to Nigeria to face trial was illegal, was unlawful. The first segment of our broadcast today, the same, Justice Benson Anya stated the same, that it was unlawful, and as a result, he awarded 1 billion naira compensation to Nnamdi Kanu and asked the Federal Republic of Nigeria to apologize to him and publish the apology on 3 different national dailies and show commitment to a peaceful resolution of the matter. And up to now, that very judgment is about 3 years old. The judgment of the UN is about 3 years old. The detention of Nnamdi Kanu is about 3 years old. The government of Muhammadu Buhari did not obey any of the judgment, be it the judgment of Justice Benson Anya Nnawuihe, be it the judgment of the Appeal Court at Abuja, be it the judgment that later came during the time of, just last year, December 15th, under President Ahmed Tinubu. None of them, his predecessor did not comply with the judgment. Neither has he in this present administration. They have not complied with the judgment. The arrest of Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't have taken place. The detention of Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't have taken place. The trial of Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't have taken place. That is the judgment of the United Nations. And with this, we bring this segment of the broadcast to an end. We are going to come back to you either today or next to continue with this very enlightenment broadcast. From me, from here, it is goodbye.